Yes, sir. I did beat Clair Obscur. I ended up getting both endings. I had my swimsuits on for the final fight, so that was definitely pretty funny to watch the cutscene like play out. I think that was a pretty cool Easter egg you told me about, Gerry, so that was pretty cool.
Nice. Yes, this is the Clair Obscur episode of this podcast. I know we're so late to the game, almost a whole year late, in fact. But you know what? Who cares?
Hey, buddy, I only put my energy in towards Game of the Years. And as far as I know, I was playing a Game of the Year.
That's right. Doesn't matter if it gets revoked and they give it to a different game because it was a pre-recorded event. Who cares? All that bullshit's dying down now from them, and that's great. Sandfall Interactive's getting a lot of hate for in my opinion, no reason.
Yep.
Yeah, Clair Obscur, man. What a game. So this is going to be a full spoiler episode from the jump, and I'm sure people who care about Clair Obscur already know. We're just going to get into it, man. So yeah, so we all saw both endings.
What's the right one?
Exactly. There's only one right ending.
Mm-hmm.
Are we going to say it at the same time? Verso.
Okay.
Gerry was quiet there.
That's what got me worried a little bit, dude.
Well, I mean, what is God, you know? Like, who are we to give souls to people in paintings and then just destroy all of it with, like, one swipe because they don't exist? Who's to say they don't exist?
I was thinking of so many different ways this could have ended.
Maya lived there for 16 years, and in those years she met a bunch of people, Gustav included. So is everything she did fucking not important enough to keep? Like not even destroy the fucking canvas, just fucking roll it up and put it in the attic.
So I've been thinking about both endings. I picked Verso's first because I think,
yeah, that dude's trapped in there. Come on.
looking at the game, I'm thinking of both perspectives of Verso and Mael. His ending to me should be the one that is the right ending because of the decisions that Mael makes at the end. Her reasoning and stuff for wanting to stay in the canvas ultimately leads her to her own death.
Yep.
Because she hates her outside life. So this is the only option. We have to destroy this canvas because not only is fake Verso tired, so is the last piece of his soul. Renoir, Clea, and Verso, they want to help Alicia/Mael. She acknowledges what they're telling her and understands that what they're saying is right, but she still decides that she would rather live here for as long as she can than stay out in the real world where she's shunned, which is, it's a tough decision for a lot of people to make, I get. But, the idea is she doesn't have to live here. She can leave and come back. She has such an attachment to this world because it's Verso's. Even though she lived there for a long time, it's it's her second family and stuff, of course, and she loves her real family. But her decision to stay here knowing the adverse effects makes it the unwise choice, I think. And that's why we have to cut it. And then you see, the cutscene after the decision you make, everyone kind of comes together and finally accepts the end of Verso. And then, they're going to move on together as a family. They could have done that without destroying the canvas, but it's because of Mael that they have to destroy it.
I had similar opinions to what Danny was saying. Now, one thing that I thought about is we learn early on how she taps into her powers. Pretty much right at the beginning of Act 3 when she brings back Lune and Ciel. One of the things that I thought of was, why couldn't she just paint a new canvas with the idea that she can repaint Gustav, his sister, Ciel, Luna? Because all she needs to do is remember them, just like what Verso is saying. He implies that wisdom into this is how you paint. And then pretty much from there, she got it. I did pretty much almost everything in the game. I haven't done the painter's workshop, so I don't really know if there's conversations between her and Verso and how her powers work in there. But pretty much everywhere else I've been through, except for the DLC that they added. And I haven't seen any other conversations where she's having issues using her powers. Just to make a point there. Obviously, Verso's is the correct ending if we want this story to continue. Renoir is not going to go through all the trouble to do what he's doing the way he did for Aline, to do it for Mael after he knew that she was lying to him. But yeah, I definitely agree with you, Danny. It just makes so much sense to know that, having her live in Verso's canvas, as the controller, and then just being able to make a Verso that can age, right? As if that was the only thing that he wanted. I don't know, man. I just feel up until the very end, her character was really great. Her character was on the path to making progress or to even like looking for a third option. But then she just gets really fanatical. Like she just gets super obsessed. All of her emotions really just take over, and that's where we see that whole thing with Verso. Like she just totally lost control. She's just, I'm tired. I don't want to do this anymore. I just want to go home and talk to you. None of that is really clicking to her at the time. She's just so like wound up in it that she just ends up having to make that irrevocable decision to just X him out. I don't know, man. That really sucks. The other way I thought about it too is, when she makes this other Verso, she probably made that Verso without the actual Verso's memories. Because I don't know how close you guys were paying attention. And just to make another point here, when you finally realize that the little boy that you keep seeing, that little NPC that you talk to, is Verso.
Yes.
Right? Like so many times on early in the game, he's talking about, hey, I never really wanted to do this. I really like music. That's something that I like to do. When I try to share that with my mom, they look at me and they're just like, oh, that's not what we want you to do. That's not what you're supposed to do. And he talks about being sad. So I'm going to wrap this up right now. But like the only other point that I have towards that is like the whole Visage Island thing, right? All of Renoir's axons are based off of his family, right? With Visage being about Verso. And it's just like a very clear like person who is just born into something that he did not want to do. The idea of her making a Verso that isn't a painter would be a Verso that isn't even aware of who he is or what powers he has, to just make him totally ignorant so that he can blissfully do what he wants to do and be happy. I'm like under the impression that Verso probably doesn't even know that Mael Alicia is his sister. Is just some dude just living his life and just being a musician.
The way I interpreted that final scene in Mael's ending was she just recreated Verso, and yeah, he can age, like you said. I feel like he retained all of his memories just because of the way he was carrying himself walking up to the piano. Like you could just feel the sadness in his body. Like sure, he could finally age, but that's not what he really wanted. The way I interpreted the final part with Mael's eyes is that, oh, this is like her last moment in the world and she's going to die. So I feel like he knew that like this is it. Like this is the final performance I'm going to do, and then she's just dead from the world.
So I don't think she remade Verso. I think she just brought everybody else back. And she made him age. When he looked at her and he saw her becoming like her face melting with pain and all that, I think that's the way of him seeing her as becoming the paintress that trapped everybody else in the beginning. His mom pretty much. And what he wants is for them to leave the painting, for them to let it go. Since his whole thing was to go to the monolith and take her down, which means to kick her out of the painting. Pretty much, I think he sees her as another version of the paintress gonna come too. Like how she looked and how the, what's his name? Their dad, right? But when he was in the manor, the curator, he's slowly looking at her turning into that, but...
Yeah, turn into like one of those anomalies.
Because he kept his memory and he sees everything and he saw the decision she made, and it's pretty much the same thing again, but it's Mael this time.
I think I could see that for sure. And I do think it is very evident. It's something I will agree with you on. That like the idea of Mael's ending is, of course, because she wants to be in this place to just feel the nostalgia and be with Verso, that it's to nobody's surprise she would have to take over as the paintress. To Renoir's warnings, despite all the warnings that he was given Aline and Mael, and even that Clea did the same thing. She's just like, you cannot stay in there. You have been in there too long. It's going to kill you. It's ridiculous. Like, you need to let it go. And honestly, I totally agree with them. Let me say it like this. There was no evidence that supports how long painters live compared to like actual human beings. Like, we don't really know if Alicia is actually 16. Because technically Renoir and Aline have been in the painting for 67 years.
There's a time dilation, though. Like Renoir and Aline are not just standing there for 67 years outside the painting.
Right, and I understand this when Mael gets trapped in there for 16 years. There is a period of time, like there's a passage of time that they're obviously stuck in there. okay, well, even if it's not 67 years in the reality where the painters and the writers live, I would say that it's still a long time for Clea to have called for Alicia and drag her here before the story even began and say, hey, enough's enough. It's been too long since this has happened, and this is partially your fault, so I'm going to have you fix it. Well, actually, she didn't even want her to fix it, but she was just like, if you really want to do something, you might as well do this. And then she fucked it up. And then that's kind of like how that whole thing happened. All the same, to Gerry's point on that ending, like, I think when Verso looks at her and we see her, you know, basically sitting, looking back at him, and we can see the reflection in, like, you know, what it is, like, I just think about it as kind of like a sickness, right? Like, that we can see the sickness spread for her being in the painting. At that point, we don't really have a demarcation of how long she's been in the painting. If that's the first time they're watching him do his musical performance, if it's the last time he's doing the musical performance, like what Danny thinks, there's no exposition, so there's no in-between for us to know. Just to the fact that by the time that we see that happening, she's sick. She's just like her mom. She has no intentions of leaving. Fuck, man, yeah, I think that's some real powerful shit. It really reminds me of Final Fantasy 16. Like, these days, it seems like RPGs are pretty much good when you end them on tragic notes.
Yep. Tired of all this happy shit.
I wouldn't call Verso's ending tragic. I mean, it is tragic in the large sense that, you know, that world is gone. The characters that we played with no longer exist. But it's on a much happier note compared to Mael's.
That's true. And like I said earlier, I feel like Mael can just make her own canvas and she can bring Lune and Ciel and Gustav and all that back.
I was going to bring this back up. I don't think that's how it works.
Mm-mm.
She's able to bring Mael and Ciel back like she did. Or Mael. Lune and Ciel back like she did because she was in Verso's canvas. Those are part of his painting. If she goes to a different canvas, like her own one, and try to recreate Lumiere and those characters, they're not going to be the same characters. It's not just going to carry over like that.
No, that much I understood. I understand all of that. I understand, just like the whole thing with Noko. Like, we can bring Noko back, but he's not going to be the same Noko. Like, that much I totally understood. But all the same, she could do it if she wants to.
Well,
it's just a matter of her, and she probably will, to be fair with you. We can already see the type of character she is just from her own ending. If she's willing to go the route where she'll just throw her life away and be like, I'm just going to keep myself happy here because this is where I want to be, then who knows if this other Mael can just be like, okay, I can't do shit in my own reality. Let me just paint a canvas of my own since I'm a painter, and I can have my own adventure with everything happening here. I'll have my own SKA, and I have my own what?
But that's the dividing line with her character. Based on how like the talks with her and Renoir and her and Verso, and then picking Verso's ending, you understand she's not going to do that because that's what they told her she could do. She told her father that, like, I'd rather stay here because I have, you know, an actual life that I enjoy rather than being out in the real world where I can't talk, I'm disfigured, you know, everyone's going to hate me. And his response to that was, well, you're very talented. You could do whatever you want back home because you have so much talent. And she just refuses that because she's too attached. She's not ready to let go, right? Because she has that big burden on her shoulders of her being the reason Verso's dead. That's why I feel like Verso let Gustav die, is because he knows who she is. And he understands all the reasonings and stuff, even though he's the painted version. So by having Mael's version of Verso die, and he was hoping that she can overcome this grief, and then when she retained her memories again as Alicia, you know, maybe having that experience in this canvas can help her grow as a character. Based on what I saw, how I interpreted the end was that, oh, she didn't really grow up yet, so that's why he has to destroy the canvas, because if she didn't learn by now, then she's not going to overcome it later, and she's just going to die in here, and we can't have that.
Right, yeah. That's what I figured as well, by him taking matters into his own hands, right? Just forcing her to basically grow up, because God knows he was able to see it exactly with his mom. I brought this up off record a lot before you and I had beaten the game. I'm not a big Verso fan. I'm really not. His character to me was just not good. One of the points that I would say I would make towards this is, although he was vocal about what he wanted from the canvas and what he wanted from Mael on many occasions through the, I'm going to call them social links, through the times that he's increasing social links with his party members, you know, the expeditioners. And he tells Mael, he's like, hey, you should just leave. I think that there's a clear distinction between him saying you should leave and you should destroy the canvas, right? So he's talking about, hey, you should leave. You shouldn't be here. You know, this is just a waste of your time. We know how this is going to end up. You know what this is going to, you know, if you spend time here, your wheels are only going to keep turning. You're not going to go anywhere. I just think that, like, when we talk about, like, his intentions, is that he should have been more clear about the entire thing. On part of where I would agree with everything that you just said, Danny, like, Verso was able to just determine that Mael was just not mature enough. I'm going to say mature. Was just not mature enough to handle the reality of her own reality and what needed to be done. In turn, I feel like he wasn't vocal enough about what he wanted and what the determination of the expedition should have been. Like, hey, we need to destroy this. The idea is, if you stay here, everything will go the exact same way. Like, nothing will change. Even if the expedition stops, like, eventually Mael will lose power over that painting. She will, because she can't stay in there. She's going to die in there. So something will have to happen. And aside from that, he just, like, through so many points in the story, feels like he's kind of misdirecting everyone with all the lying by omission and things like that. Because he's just like, if I don't do these things and don't tell you these things, then you won't help me in the way that I need to. Like, I need you to. Like, you're going to have, like, a whole... You're like, we're going to end up coming to a whole different, you know, understanding of what needs to be done. And it's just like, I don't really feel like at any point that would have really come to terms that way. Like, I don't really feel like he was listening to what Renoir or Aline were saying when he says that to them. Because there are only two options. And there have only ever been two options. So him withholding that information, whether, you know, the lying by omission or not, you know, it's just like, none of the actual factual truths change to whether they end up being the ones in control of the canvas or not. There is just so many things about Verso that I feel could have been a little different in towards the ending of what I would consider canon, like what should have happened, what should happen. He may not be my favorite character, like he's not the best for me, but I agree with him. I think that in that respect, he is correct. And he's been correct the entire time. It's just a matter of execution on his part and everything that led up to the greatest expedition there ever was.
What are your thoughts on Verso, Gerry, before I get into it?
I didn't like him at first. I'm like, who the fuck is this after Gustav went? And I'm like, yeah, my heart can't take a rebound. It wasn't until we fought the Paintress where I realized that this dude might just be a little kid. I don't know. As we moved on with the story, I didn't know what was happening for a minute there after everybody was gommaged, and then Mael came back as Alicia. I just kind of felt more sorry for him as we got closer to the end. But as a character, yeah, he could be better, honestly. But at the same time, like, he's a ghost of somebody, so like at a certain moment in time, that's how he was. But I don't know about growth and all that shit anymore. This is why I want like another game, but a prequel, you know, like with the Expedition Zero, and see how he painted himself into the world and what's happened.
He didn't paint himself. His mom painted him.
But he has his soul in there, so he'd have to paint himself. No.
No. When he created the canvas as a child, he put a piece of his soul in there. That's how the canvas works.
Aren't the gestrels his creation, though?
The gestrels, the grandises, the esquisses, those are all his creations. Lumiere is his creation. Even though the canvas is his, he painted the canvas together with his mom. Clea is the one that invented Nevrons. So all the different things in the canvas are not just completely Versos. There are different parts and pieces of the canvas. So, for example, is the fracture. The whole thing between the fracture was Lumiere was all one thing. The whole reason why everything split in the first place was because Aline and Renoir fought the very first time when they were at like their full strength, and they had so much chroma or whatever that they ended up just completely basically breaking the painting from the inside.
I don't think so, actually, Oscar. I haven't beaten him yet. I don't think you have either. But Simon, as far as I have seen and heard, he's the reason why everything got fractured.
Is that right?
Yeah, like, all the glowing swords and stuff in Lumiere, he's the one that caused
Those were
that.
all him.
Yeah,
He's
those are all
him.
him. Okay, so this is why I would say that the fracture happened, because at one point, I'm pretty sure it was either towards the end of Act 3 or at the beginning of Act 3 when you talk to Renoir. But he is like telling you about like before Eileen trapped him inside underneath the monolith, the whole thing between him confronting her the very first time before he got trapped in there is what led to the fracture. So them like basically butting heads. Because at that point, he didn't have enough chroma. She had all the chroma. He had to basically create the axons to try to combat everything. And that all came to head. And there was basically so much chroma impacting on the whole thing that it just led to the fracture of Lumiere. Everything split. That was my interpretation. Sorry.
It was because of him, you're correct. But I guess it was because he forced himself into it while Aline was in there. And then because of like that forceful entry, that caused the fracture. And then that's when he pulled out all the Nevrons and stuff to start destroying the canvas.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. There was a point, I don't know if you remember this, but there was one of those discussions, I think it was with one of the boy NPCs. I have to say that the masked man is the full-grown Verso, probably. But it was between one of those two NPCs. Oh my god, I just lost my train of thought.
Are you talking about Gustav's apprentices or like some of the fading characters?
The fading NPCs. You know how there's like the boy, and then there's I think I want to say that there was a woman at one point, but I don't.
Yeah, there is.
Okay, yeah, right. And then there's the guy who's kind of like gold, right? And he's got like the top hat on. He's called the Masked Man. Like you see him in the drafts. He's in there, for example.
Mm-hmm.
But he's also in Lumiere, I think. And Old Lumiere too, I also think. Anyway, I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought there.
I have a question for you guys. In Mael's ending, as we see everybody sitting down to watch Verso's performance, my first assumption was the kid that Mael is walking with was Verso's soul.
Shut up.
No, dude. Were you like not paying attention at all to the story?
So everyone else is saying like that's CL's child that she lost.
Yeah.
Yeah, the one that she lost, yeah. Since you're going to bring that up, let me ask you this. Were you able to put it together really early on, what Esquier meant when he said, hey, this isn't the first time we met?
No, I mean, so before the reveal in Act 2 of that this is all a painting, none of this is real, I had a whole different theory of how the game was playing, in the sense of like everything is repeating itself, right? Like all these characters are represented in the world that they're fighting against. Gustav is a reflection of Verso. Mael is like the reincarnation of Alicia. And so that's where I felt like, oh, that's why Esquier said that to CL. It's because, yeah, he's met her before, but not like this character specifically. Because when he fought the Axons, like this was strengthening my theory, was because with the Visage, the mask character, and how it wasn't affecting CL. And it's like, oh, so like CL's the reflection of Visage because of, he's going through the three phases of emotions, right? Like joy, anger, sadness. And like when you build up her relationship and know like her own story arc, it's like, yeah, that kind of reflects into what her life is. And then when you fight Serene and how like it does something specifically to Lune, that's when I was thinking, oh yeah, so this is Serene's reflection. That's Lune.
What?
That's where I was going, because it's like the mystery of the world and stuff was great up until we got the reveal that they're in a painting, and that's where my disappointment came in. But when Esquier said that, like I had no idea what he was talking about. The reason I thought that kid was Verso's soul is because of what we just saw immediately after, is that she grabs Verso's soul's hand and helps him stop painting forcibly, and then that's the next scene we get. I don't know, I just thought that made sense, because sure, it could be CL's, but I don't think... No, I guess you hear it. Is it? Because I don't know if her relationship stuff... I can't remember if her reveal that she lost her child was in the main game story or in her side story.
It's in her side story.
Right, yeah. So which is an easily missable thing. For casual players, that's how I would interpret it.
I thought it was just some kid, but everything always fucking means something.
That's right.
I think it was kind of nuts how, at least for CL, it's just like her husband didn't even die to the gommage. Her husband just fucking died because he sucked at swimming.
No, that's not how he died.
Her husband died. Yeah, but her husband died from an accident. I don't remember exactly what the
Yeah,
accident was.
but it's not because he can't swim.
I didn't say it was because he can't swim. It's just because he sucks at swimming. But did they even specify what the accident was?
Yeah, he was on an island outside of Lumiere trying to get chroma or something. But yeah, an accident happened on the island and he lost his body, or they lost him at sea.
Oh,
and
they couldn't recover him. Yeah, couldn't recover his body.
So I think it's pretty funny. I didn't know that Lune was a romance option.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Well, because after a certain point, I'm like, oh, I'm like, are we about to have like a little thruple action going on? Like, what's happening?
You wish. I wish. We all wish.
Did you pick Lune, right, Gerry?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I told you guys the other day when we talked, but I felt like as far as like the endings go, like CL felt like the canon choice.
It's because she throws it at you. You could just say yes so easily.
No, just because how the ending is with Versos, where she walks in to that area that she's not allowed and kills herself, and then Lune is sitting down and like staring down Verso, and I feel like, yeah, this makes sense. Like the reason she went in there is because, you know, I mean, she is a sympathetic person, but also like they had a thing at some point that was real in the moment, and so, and she's always trying to comfort Verso whenever he's going through like this PTSD with his family.
I saw it as more as like her just wanting to see like the ending in her world. Like she didn't want to cross over because that would instantly kill her. She wanted to see Verso end it all, and like basically the reality would, you know, collapse on itself on her end. She was just waiting. I just, that was my interpretation of what was happening. Like, all in all, nobody was happy about that ending. Like, especially not CL. Like to CL and to Lune, it is a betrayal. Again, the interpretation, and another reason why I mentioned that I didn't like Verso was because of that whole, like, him not being too vocal with him wanting the painting to be destroyed. And so everyone is under the interpretation that Maella just needs to leave the painting and the painting just needs to be hidden somewhere and everything will be hunky-dory.
Him destroying the painting, that was not his original goal. That only became his goal towards the end when he realized that Maella lied to her father, that she's going to leave soon.
I could see that. I can also see very early on, like probably before you even get up to the paintress, that he had made the decision to end everything a long time ago. There's a lot of dialogue he has about him being immortal and how tired he is of being immortal and how tired he is of seeing all of his friends die and all of his loved ones die. He's alone a lot, and all he ever did in that time of being alone was check up on Maella as soon as Maella appeared in the canvas. You know, everything was pretty much like a calculated plan up until the point where she showed up. The only thing that fell out of calculation was Maella didn't have grasp over her powers and didn't know who she was. So Verso has to play. Well, I mean, that of course was not calculated because Clair pretty much instructed her on how to do it, and she freaked out and dropped the ball.
But remember, Clair went to Painted Verso after that happened and told him what happened.
Yeah, I told him that she dropped the ball.
And well, yeah, she got reborn. She got isekai'd in the painting. And so she told Verso to keep an eye on her. So he knew the whole time who she really was and that she had no memories of her real life. And that was the crux he needed, because she's the only one that's going to be there to destroy the barrier at the paintress and stop all this from happening, so that way they can break their mother free.
Well, technically, they didn't need her to break the barrier because they just needed the axons for that. What they did need her for was to push her mother out.
They didn't need the axons. They needed the curator to create the weapon to do it.
But they needed axons to do that. That's the whole reason why you go on the axon hunt. You need 2 out of the 3 axons. Once you get them,
you need their chroma.
Correct. You need Renoir's chroma is basically what it was. It was a roundabout way of saying that you needed Renoir's chroma because it was strong enough to fight Aline's chroma.
Yeah, and he's trapped, so he can't do anything until Aline's gone. So that's why his original plan was, okay, whenever Maella is going to be here on the expedition, that's going to be the time to break the barrier. We saw it in the main story. His original plan was to be able to go into the manor, because that's where the heart is for the paintress. The plan was to get her out from that route, but they weren't allowed in, so now they have to go the other route, which is this long roundabout way. You know, like we saw in the when we defeated the Axons, Renoir, as the curator, was not going to give it to anybody except Maella. So even if she wasn't there and they still did all that, he wasn't going to give them the weapon.
Yeah, I guess that's true. He did make the weapon for Maella. The one thing that I would just say is, even though he did only make it for Maella, we could see in the cutscene that Lune was also able to use that weapon. So technically, if they somehow got the weapon to be made without Mael, either anyone could have used the weapon.
The curator only wanted to give the weapon to Mael. That doesn't mean
Right.
she's the only one that can use it.
Right.
So he wasn't going to make it unless she was there, is what I'm saying.
And like I'm saying, if for whatever reason, in a roundabout way, they were able to get their hands on the barrier breaker, and like I'm just saying, it would have been able to be used by anybody.
But I'm saying, like, it wouldn't be created unless Mael was there.
Right. That's the catch-22.
Yeah, there's no catch-22. It's like that's the only plan B to stop it. Because there's no other way to stop Renoir's destruction of the painting unless there's another painter involved.
Yeah, and Clea wasn't going to go back, and Verso's not a painter. He's just part of the painting.
Yeah, he's just immortal, but he can't break the barrier on his own. I like Verso as a character. I think he was written pretty great. He is the tragic character in all sense of the term, as far as he sees everybody he loves die, even like his lover, Julie. Mm-hmm. And then we get the realization that he's immortal and that his family that he's supposed to love and agree with, they're against the idea of destroying the paintress and stopping the gamage. So now he has this internal conflict about that. And then Clea shows up and tells him that he's a painting. And not only is he a painting, he's a painting of a version that's dead. Like, he doesn't exist anymore. So he is, like Gerry said earlier, a ghost. And he's immortal, and like he has this existential dread about him that, his mother is dying and he's the reason. And so that's where he comes to the idea of like, yeah, we just have to defeat the paintress. And it doesn't matter if everyone gets gommaged by that. As we saw, he's still around because he's immortal. He's not part of the Verso creations. He was Aline's. And Renoir was only destroying Verso stuff.
He was destroying the rest of it. With Clea's Nevrons and stuff like that. Like, all of it eventually would have left. It's just...
Well, I don't know if I don't think the painting would have been destroyed at that point. Well,
yeah, no, Renoir would have definitely destroyed it. He said it multiple times.
True.
He's like,
yeah,
everything's going to go.
But then, of course, he had hope in his sister, Mael/Alicia, that maybe they could come to an understanding in the real world and not have the canvas be destroyed. They can just recreate everybody. Specifically Mael, because since she lived with everybody in Lumiere, she's probably the only one that can bring them all back and having them still be the same people.
I mean, we pretty much see that when she does bring back Lune and Ciel. They pick up right where they left off. They retain all of their memories and everything like that. It's just like her having to explain the events of what happened after they were gommaged.
I do like a theory I saw talking about like the ending for her, where because we see like Gustave and his sister's back, Ciel's husband, either their child or whatever, but it's only them in the theater. Like all the core cast that Mael's connected to. The theory is that because, she's still young, so she's not as strong as her parents are. Their theory was that, this is probably not that long after, because even though she has full control of the canvas now and can use all that chroma, she's probably not strong enough to recreate everything as is.
I mean, yeah, I would also agree with that. But who's to say? Because there's no exact like evidence to define like what we consider any correlation of time that's passed between the time that the ending like plays out and from what she when she defeated Verso. It's like what I said earlier. We could be watching her have Verso play for the very first time or for the very last time. But I think what does give it away is like, again, that sickness that we see for both Renoir and Aline. If I remember correctly, because I took pictures, but I think like the sickness spreads like completely down their face, like all the way up to their cheekbone, like down to the jaw.
Yeah, like how when they go painter mode.
Right, yeah. And so we can see like for Alicia, she's got it like, I want to say it's like probably just to where the tip of her nose is, like almost halfway down her face. I think that would definitely consider a lot of time has passed. But then again, like we also don't, it's like what you're saying too, like if you consider her powers like as like really young, but they also talk of her being weak. So I feel like it's not maybe like she'll grow into her powers, which if they make a sequel, it probably will be something like that. But I think more along the lines of because of her disfigurement, because of the disability, and because of her trauma that affects her, that has weakened her character in her own reality. In actual reality, she is not this strong girl that we see here inside of Verso's painting. Also kind of supports that evidence to her own ending, that she's too caught up in what's going on in this portrait. like as if she knows that the best that she's gonna be and ever will only be inside of Verso's painting. Like it can't get any better than that. To which case, of course, Verso and everyone else is telling her, no, that's not true. The whole point of the Reacher and everything that happens between you and the time you get all the way up there, them explaining what this axon means. I don't know if you remember a certain part, but like about halfway when you're climbing this level, Mael is talking to Verso and everyone else. And she's like, she finds like, I guess this one Nevron that isn't set to like break things and instead of just building stuff. And then she just like makes a reference to the fact that out of all of Renoir's children, Clea is the favorite because Clea is perfect, right? As she compares herself to Clea. And then Verso, you're not aware that this axon represents you, that you are the hope that can reach for the stars. Like the sky is yours, right? And he makes a point of like explaining that. Like you think Clea is the favorite. You are the actual favorite, which is what he says. It's like he emphasizes that. It's like all in caps. I remember that specifically. It's like you are the favorite. He has so much potential for you. He has so much hope for you that this in and of itself is the place where Alicia would go to, right? Because it just makes the most sense. This is what he thought of his daughter.
Well, yeah, he says it himself to Mael that like, yeah, you have so much potential.
And she just throws it away, man. I definitely feel like there's a long period of time that passes when all of this is happening, just because of the fact that, you know, that sickness is spread pretty far down her face. Like, I think that by the time we actually see what's happening in the epilogue before the series of events starts, you would just expect it to be only in her eyes, because that's what we see in the cutscene, right? As her just jumping into the canvas, touching out, and then only her eyes are like what like turns opaque.
I think I'm gonna say it's probably not long after, only because again, like she's inexperienced. Not inexperienced, but like yeah, she's not. Her powers aren't mature enough for her to last there. Like Renoir said, you've already been in here too long, and it's only been 16 years. And then we see how her parents are in there for 67 years, and it's starting to affect them. So it'll be interesting. The next game that comes out, I'm willing to bet we're not going to see these characters again. At least not part of like the main plot. I feel like because there's so much potential for other stuff. Like maybe we'll see what Clea's doing, right? She's going to go fight the writers, like whatever that means.
Right.
And have a whole different world going about. Like that's, I don't know, there's so much potential. And I do like how Sandfall said, like, I think it was a couple weeks ago, like their plan moving forward is they're going to make their next few games are not going to be as large as this one. And I think that's a great decision.
I also agree with that. Whatever comes next, whatever these next couple projects are going to be, I would say for certain that as long as these people don't get bought out by any other studio, we're going to get of the highest quality. I remember one thing our friend had told us a while, well, not told us explicitly, but had mentioned when we play the game for the first time, you would refer to the game by the full title, Clair Obscur Expedition 33. But by the time that you beat the game, anyone who at least knows was going to refer to it only as Clair Obscur. And I was like, at the time, I was like, I didn't really understand that. But I definitely get it now. I definitely feel that way as well. There's just like by the end of everything it is indeed like the franchise is what's next. Just the Clair Obscur.
Which is pretty funny because I think I've told you guys, like the developers, and you could tell by the box art for the game, the reason why the title is so long, like yeah, the main hub is Clair Obscur, but the biggest font is Expedition 33. And that's because the studio thought, yeah, Clair Obscur is too French of a phrase for, you know, the rest of the audience that's going to be playing this. So they're just going to be calling it Expedition 33. And I've seen people call it that, like E33 and stuff. But majority of the time I see Clair Obscur. And they were like, yeah, we weren't expecting that at all.
Did you guys see the developer painting?
Yeah, I took a picture of it.
Yes, I did.
That means that you got the last Switch, right, Danny?
No.
I found it in one of those secret rooms, but I don't know. For me, I found all 3 Switches, and that's how I ended up finding that room.
Oh, no, that room is a door you find in one of the levels.
Yeah, I know it's in the manor, but I mean, just to unlock the entire manor, you're going to go through all those doors, and then, you know, one of those doors eventually has those switches, and it loops basically one half to the house to the other half of the house underneath, like through some sort of basement or some bullshit.
Did you guys see the Manoka room?
No, I haven't opened every door yet.
Which room is the Monoko room?
There's a room with nothing but the dog.
I freaking missed Monoko and Nora, and was it Noko?
Yeah.
I missed them in the manor during the flashback.
When were they? Whoa! I missed that too. Whoa! Which one are we
They
talking
were
about?
sleeping in front of the fireplace. They're like in a dog bed. Monoko the third and Noko.
During the epilogue.
Yeah.
Oh, so I remember I was telling you guys that I went into photo mode and I found that picture, right? But I didn't think to look for anything else. Luckily the picture was a cool find, and I'm still happy about that. But I am sad that I missed that on.
The Monoko room is in one of the paintings. You have to jump through the painting to get there.
Whoa.
And there's only one of those rooms, so you don't have to
Like the
struggle.
painting workshops? Is that
No,
what you
when
mean?
you're in the manor, it's behind one of the paintings. So try to jump through all the paintings you can. When you're looking from the front door to like the rest of the room, like the giant staircase, it's gonna be on the left side.
Oh, okay.
What is the easiest way to get to the manor?
You just find one of the doors, like in the overworld.
There's a door in the overworld? Which one
Yeah.
is in the overworld?
It's where one of the painting workshops are. It's like on the second half of the island. Yeah, there's a lot of good little things in there. I enjoyed finding them all.
Hey, you know what's pretty funny is I didn't realize that at the Endless Tower, those paintings in the back are part of the DLC update. Did not know that.
I didn't know that either. I'm at the Endless Tower right now, and I don't know what they do.
Those are boss fights. I don't know if you guys saw that clip I shared last night.
I did.
Yep.
Yeah, that's new stuff. So I'm avoiding it for now.
The first time I watched it, I was like, damn, he's really trying to do that solo with Lune. That's crazy. And then I watched it again, and I was like, oh, no, they're dead.
I spent a long time in that fight, and I almost killed him, and then turns out, no, you didn't almost killed him, because he was just going to heal his 24 million HP anyways, and you're going to have to fight him 5 times before you can actually kill him.
Hell yeah.
And I said, I'm leaving.
Oh, the healing is scripted?
It's the Chromatic Lamp Master, but like behind him, he has like 4 giant purple lanterns, and he destroys one of them to get all of his health back. His kit is so bullshit.
I can't wait. I'm on Act 2, but I'm kind of rolling through it.
It's crazy how engaging you have to be on a turn-based game like this.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting some of the stuff to come out, especially with the Simon fight. Like it gives you a couple of new mechanics in the game that are just fucking bullshit because you learn them right there.
What difficulty are you playing on?
I don't know. There were difficulties. I'm pretty sure I played the
Yeah,
hardest.
yeah,
Because I don't get the slowdown.
crazy. I think that's only on story
Oh
mode.
really? Okay. Yeah. No, I think I'm playing it on hard.
I wanted to know if this was something that was locked behind difficulty, but when you need to parry, is it always the X button for you, or is it different
It's
buttons?
R1.
No, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to say parry. QuickTime event. When you QuickTime event, is it just the X button,
Oh
or
yeah,
is
it's
it...
just X.
Okay, I was wondering if that was going to be something that they would increase with difficulty. Like to me, that sounds like it would be something
Ooh,
fun.
That would make me mad.
Like,
No,
that's a
fuck
good
you.
quality of life
that
update.
Would suck because if you get 2 different ones and this like, dude, I'm playing Where Wins Me, and there's a Guitar Hero aspect in this game, and it makes me pissed off.
But you always keep trying it, don't
I'd
you?
rather just keep X, yeah, until I fuck it up again. Then I'm done. Until I fought Simon, then I'm like, oh, this guy has to go down like right away. I can't fuck around and try to like memorize his moveset because he does so fucking much. He has like fucking, I want to say he has 4 phases.
He has 3.
So the first phase is the one you fight, and then he goes fucking Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan, and just like makes the eclipse from behind him. And then he goes into phase 2 from there, and then phase 3 is one more slice, or is that already phase 2?
Phase 2 is the one where he has like a projection after his attack.
Yeah.
So you have to parry in succession
And then
twice.
there's another one after that. Like there's another projection that'll
Oh, that's
pop up
scary.
after that one. Yeah.
So that's probably phase 3 that you're
I think
talking
so,
about. Yeah.
I think so, yeah.
So if that part can be skipped, then my whole thing is you just need to out damage him. It's not technically a phase 3 because there's no complete health bar again. It's just in continuation to you getting his health bar.
But he has different moves and
He
stuff,
does,
though, right?
yeah.
Yeah, so that's a phase 3.
And I think that happens after he
Yeah,
does
I mean,
the
okay.
Gamage
So let me
bullshit.
just reiterate. Right, yeah, like a phase 3 without a new health bar. It's just like part of phase 2. Like lower his health by a certain amount, and then he just has the extra attacks thrown in.
Yeah. I'm just saying, like, it's a whole new. Well, it's not all new, but it's like has a projection after it, and that one is blue, and then after that it turns red, and then he adds one more projection. So instead of like doing half notes, you got to do quarter notes after that. Quarter note parries after that. But I think that might be 3x.
Are you talking about like in 3/4 rhythm and then like 4/4 and stuff like that?
No, I
Is that
said
you're
what I
telling-
said. The one, okay, so if one slice is a whole note, then a slice and then a projection is a half note, and then he does fucking some kind of triplet bullshit after all that shit. So he does the one slice and then two more after that. There was a time, there was a point I tried to like learn his moveset, and then he pulled out that one, and I'm like, okay, so he just has to die like right away. I can't I can't waste time on him. That's when I'm like, I had to level everybody and then just make everybody just fucking wicked strong, and then make the weakest, strongest people my first team. So when he gamages, you just switch to the second team, which is your main, and then just quick stand.
He gamages the whole party?
Yeah. After a certain point, yeah, like he does a gamage and then boom, phase 3 with your backup team.
The last time that Gerry had brought this up, I don't think that you were on the episode, Danny, but I had related this to an RPG that had came out for the Game Boy Advance and then also for the DS. It was called Golden Sun.
Oh yeah.
In Golden Sun, you get 2 parties, and at the very end of Golden Sun 2, the final boss, the final boss is split up in between both of your parties. So it's almost exactly like what Gerry's saying, where you do, party A, which is your weak character. In this case, it doesn't really matter, but party A is your weak characters, and then he'll just do a bullshit and force you to swap into your backup party, which by far is so far the only enemy in the game to have done this. Like, I haven't fought any other enemy that made me do that. Even
in this game,
even Clair. Yeah, in this game.
Yeah, no, he's the only one.
Something that Danny had said earlier was like, that's not something that you could skip. I doubt that, because I feel like, I think you were the one who said it earlier, but your boy Pat hated Simon so much that he created builds to skip that last phase, right? So it's just a matter of out damaging and just killing it in one shot if you could.
Yeah, I didn't say you couldn't skip it.
You could one shot his first phase into the second phase, and then I'm pretty sure you could one shot him there.
Right.
Roulette helps me out and fucking chomps on my nuts at the same time when they're during that fight, because like you're trying to hit for the 200% damage, right? And then sometimes it just halves your damage instead, which just like at that point, like from
that's not what
that,
you want.
That first hit right there is gonna be like your make or break, because you can either like just tickle him or just straight up knock him out and then bring him to a second phase or third phase.
I am pretty successful in doing it without roulette. So let me ask you this, because I've never even considered using it, but is it necessary?
No, I mean, if you're as strong as you are, even halving your damage will still kill most things. During Simon, I think so. Yeah. I think it would help just to have the 200%, just for the chance, because either way you're still gonna do damage. It's just not as much as you probably want if you hit the 50. So that's why it's like
it's a 50-50 shot.
Yeah,
isn't
that's
it?
that's like if you want to gamble during RPGs, like how much are you gonna hit? I like Mael's little voice line when we're fighting. She's like, "Time to hit big." I'm like, "You got that right."
Yes, dude. I fell in love with that shit too, dude. Time to hit big.
That's the Stendhal fucking slot machine right there. So if you run that build,
that's my build right there. That's perfect. That's how I know I am going to, in fact, win big. Every single time, dude. Like I was doing the Endless Tower earlier, right before we started recording, because I'm not playing one-handed. But I got like to 6.5 million. I'm like, that's the most I've done so far.
Dude.
Yeah, dude, it's insane.
That's insane.
Yeah, that's the chase right there.
I've only done 2.
That's with Elemental Genesis on your Lune.
No, Lune's not even my strongest anymore. That's CL.
What? I don't know who you are. I don't know how you do these things.
What's the are you on right now? What's the attack power for CL?
I don't know. It's the strat that I do with her is the weapon that she has equipped. You do more damage in Twilight mode, and with the weapon, when you enter the Twilight state, you damage the enemy, and then you also fill them with charges, depending on how many charges, sun and moon charges you had. So it's going to max at 20 immediately. And then I hit with the moon, the level 9 moon attack.
Twilight Dance.
Yeah.
Okay.
Also, like, I double the amount of charges I get, so I'm always going to be around 200% damage with it.
You're playing it right.
And because they have the cards, it does more damage. And then I'm doing a burn crit build right now with my characters, so the enemy's burned. And they're most likely have defenseless on sometimes, so that's how I get the 2 mil with her.
Do you have
have to build down.
longer burn and double burn?
I have double burn. I don't know, but I don't think I have longer burn.
I think I have the weapon that you're talking about. Sun skills always apply 10 foretell, but all damage taken is double.
Nope,
Base
not
attack.
that one. It's not that one.
What's it called?
It's the weapon where every time you do a charge, it'll double. So if you do a sun attack, you get 2 sun cards instead of 1.
Oh, I probably don't have that weapon.
I want to say I got it in the tower. I can't remember. I've been doing so much like post game, mid game stuff. It's crazy. There's so much there.
Good stuff.
Yeah, right now I'm just farming in Verso's drafts just to max my characters to 99 before I try Simon again. Yeah, I'm running out of stuff to do in the game right now before I go to new game.
Your last walk in the park.
Yeah, I definitely want to do a new game plus, go through it, get the Lune stuff.
I definitely wasn't going to play the game 2 more times over because I don't really care about CL that much.
It's a shame, dude. She's like one of the best characters. She's top.
She was my second weakest character, right above Verso. So just slightly better than Verso. But when I had to do, I think it's called the Chosen Path, I had to do a fight with CL. I geared her up as best as I could, and I went into that fight. And when I actually I'm able to do the build that I have for her, almost kind of similar to yours, except I don't use burn. But I did stupid high damage. Even without painted power, I killed that thing super fast, and that was not something that I was expecting CL to do. She is the only character that I'm still missing, the character trophy.
Oh, they're a skill attack. Yeah.
Yeah, so CL's is still the only one I'm missing.
Hers is pretty easy.
It is, but I'm not gonna lie. At this point, she's pretty OP, so I'm gonna have to really dumb it down if I want that, or just wait into New Game Plus.
Just go into the Endless Tower. Go towards the end.
Yeah, I guess I could do that too. I'm already at the end right now. I'm at I think 11-2, so I'm right before the final one. Because I think you said 11 was the last one, right?
Yeah, 11-2 was. I was struggling in that one, man. I got to the point where all I had left, period, was Mael by herself against 2 of the bosses in there, and I just gritted my way through it, man. But yeah, it's pretty crazy how our setups are so different. I haven't been using Mael in a while, and I put her back on my team last night, and I was like, man, she's not even breaking 500k damage right now. I don't know what happened.
Which weapon are you using with her?
Dude, I don't look at the names of those things. It's the one where when you go into Vitro stance, it heals your enemy, or it heals you, and then you get a shell when you get out of it.
Are you using Percy?
I don't think it's called Percy.
No, it's called Malarum, the one that he's using.
No, the move. I mean, her skill. Are you using Percy?
Which one's that one again?
When you pretty much just stab the opponent, but it's double damage when
increases damage to marked targets.
Yeah,
and it also.
So when somebody else marks it, you hit him with that, and if you're on virtuous stance, it switches you to defense.
Oh, no, I'm not using that.
Well, it's a defense move, so it'll change you to defense anyway. But if you're in virtuous stance, it costs 2 AP instead of 5 AP.
No, the main moves I'm using is the Gustage Homage, the Void Attack, the Defenseless. I have to switch one out because I read it wrong, but I think one of them I'm using is the Extreme Fire Damage, and then
those are good actually.
Oh, Pyrolysis.
Those are really good.
Yeah, and then the Vitros one. It's the 6 hit that keeps you in Vitros if you use it.
Oh, that is a good one. Fencer's Flurry. Yeah, Fencer's. No, I think it's called.
It's something like
Fleurette's Fury.
Mm-hmm.
Fleurette's Fury, yeah. Yeah, I use that one all the time. I'm pretty much... There's a couple weapons in particular that you can use. The one that you get from beating Golgra, if you did the tournament with Mael, so you would get it pretty early in the game. It lets you start your battle in Virtuous Stance. So your very first phase, your very first turn with Mael, you're already in Virtuous Stance. And so when you have this weapon equipped, it's also pretty good to combine with burn pictos, because when she applies burn with the weapon, it applies a second burn. And then if you get the level 20, all the burns that you deal do double damage. So that combined with like all the burn pictos is pretty good. But an even better weapon that I found is the one that you can buy from the merchant in Renoir's drafts. It's called Yevrim, and it basically applies shields. So whenever she gets a shield, she also gets shell. When she gets shields, she also gets AP. And whenever she gets a shield, she automatically gains. I think she automatically doubles the shields for everyone who has shields. The important thing about this is to use it with one of her skills. Gerry said it earlier. It's pretty much her pivotal, like the main one that focuses around all of her builds. It's called Stendhal, and it deals extreme single target void damage, removes self shields and self applies defenseless.
So she gets defenseless?
Yeah, she self inflicts herself with defenseless. So she'll take more damage as the counter, but the whole thing about it is when you combine this with Pictos, like a shield attack, I think it's called, or protecting power or something like that, every shield that you have is an additional 10% damage. So if you stack if you stack everything correctly, you can do a free aim, like just do free aim attacks, and you would just build up all of your shields. Because every time you do an attack, you give yourself shell. Every time you give yourself shell, you give yourself shields, or like vice versa, or some bullshit like that. So you would just build up your shields. And then once you have all of your shields, go into Virtuous Stance, and then you can just do Stendhal. And that's how I end up doing anywhere between like 4 to 6 million.
Yeah, I gave up on shields once I started fighting Simon.
Oh, yeah.
Man, if they didn't nerf Breaking Death, I really would have wanted to try out that Verso strat.
Okay, so yeah, we were talking about that. I've been fighting bosses, and it still works for me.
I'm not sure why it's not working for me, because I'm assuming that when somebody kills your character, when you're fighting a boss, their break bar fills all the way up. That's how it's working for you?
Yeah, it still fills all the way up.
I don't know why it's not working for me like that. I mean, I've tried it a couple different times, and I've took off auto death, but like it just doesn't work. Like I don't see their break bar going up at all. I mean, yeah, because that definitely feels like it's a pivotal thing that I would need for Simon. So yeah, that pisses me off. I mean, I'm not expecting any more updates, but some patches here and there for some quality of life and fixing some bugs that still need fixing would be nice. Does it matter to you to collect all the Pictos, all the weapons? Does that matter to you?
Now, yeah.
I wish I could sell weapons. I have too many. It's just all cluttered. I don't need any of these.
Yeah, I do agree with you. The weapons become redundant after a while, especially when you just decide to stick with one that works. Just to kind of touch back to what I was just saying, but if the game, for whatever reason, doesn't get patch updates, and they're not really going to be worried about whether people are just essentially focusing towards like only certain builds like meta, versus trying everything out, and they're not going to nerf anything, then there's just no point. There's no point in worrying about all these different weapons that you're going to get or anything like that when you can just build into the one weapon you like.
Yeah.
If it works, it works,
Yeah, like for like CL, like I'm not gonna pick a different weapon. Like hers is just too good. The Lune weapon I have, I really like a lot too. Like I don't feel like switching it at all.
You know what outfit I was disappointed in?
Which one?
The one that you get from Frozen Hearts. I don't know how to pronounce it right, but it's like Denisus.
Oh yeah,
Densis.
I was disappointed as well.
Just the thumbnail looks so fucking cool, and then you put it on, and it just
kind of sucks. Yeah,
it just looks so shitty, dude. Yeah. The last thing that I hate about this costume specifically is it immediately makes every other feature about her dark.
In the menu, yeah.
Yeah, in the menu, like everything just goes dark. It's so nuts, dude. It's ugly.
That skin for CL, Lune can get it too, actually. I found out. Verso, with his like volcano-looking skin. I was surprised those didn't come with hairstyles, like how Serene's is with Lune.
Lune isn't the only one to get that hairstyle, though, right? Because I got the dancer outfit for both CL and for Lune. I had her in the short curly hair because she's the only one that gets that hair.
Having 5 characters to play as, it's a good size. But I was honestly expecting, like in the beginning of the game, when everyone's scattered, I was like, oh man, we're going to see like maybe like 7, 8 characters that we get to pick, like 2 full teams worth or something. Yeah. But no.
They all died.
Yeah, great intro for that. Man, that was the best part about this game. Like all the mystery and everything building up before Act 2. I just had so much fun with just absorbing everything.
Yeah, honestly, I'm right there with you. It's been a good while since I was really absorbed into a game. With how long that this game had been out, I'll be honest with you, even if this game didn't win Game of the Year, I think that I was already mentally preparing myself for a long time to just be ready to play this game, because I had gone mostly the whole year without learning anything at all about the game, like the story or anything like that. Like a good friend of ours, unfortunately, this was not the case for him, and he mentioned that the game was spoiled to him in fashion, right? Based off of that, it's more or less like, okay, well, now that I know what happens and the allure is gone, like I might as well just look up like a YouTube synopsis or whatever and just call it a day. And I mean, like, that's terrible. In those instances where I know that those conversations were going to be happening, I went out of my way to make sure that I was not going to be part of those conversations. Like I just knew in my heart of hearts, like this was going to be a game that I was going to give most of my time to, and in the time that I would be giving it, it would have my full attention, which I think makes an absolute difference when it comes to, games we enjoy versus games we don't enjoy. Like if it's not something that you're like, I don't want to use like wholly immersed, like in sort of a negative connotation, but in the fact that you can just kind of forget what's going on behind you. Like just playing a game, having the literal first hour of the game be so good that by the time that you get a hold of Gustav and you wake up in that forest, your first thought is just like, I literally cannot wait to see what happens right now. Like what the next thing that happens. You're like, I'm already on the hook, brother. I'm already there. It was so good. I have not had this much fun since I played Fallout 3. The first time I even played Fallout 3, I didn't even know what Fallout was. I just went into something. It's just one of those things.
And that's part of why, like, I have to say, like, once we got the reveal about, like, this stuff being paintings and stuff, my initial reaction was, I'm so disappointed.
It's so funny with a boss like the Paintress. Is just like, you wouldn't be able to put that together. And neither would I. I'm not saying that it would have been something that's so obvious. Otherwise, we would not have enjoyed the game that much. But it's just like, fuck. Like, the picture that you painted in your head, pun intended, it's just like, it's just way too grand for it to have been whatever was actually happening.
Yeah, because my main thing about the reveal was like I said, like there's all this stuff building up. We're building this crazy magical world, and I was like, okay, yes, like once we get to the Paintress and stuff, we're gonna find out a lot of stuff of like how all this works and all that. And then when we got the reveal, I was like, wow, this sucks, because like the first thing I thought was Blazer Drive, of course, so that already pissed me off. And then the second thing is that like, oh man, so all these like questions and stuff that we and the characters have, they're just not going to get answered now because that's not important anymore. It's all about the family now. Nothing wrong with that per se. Like I still think they did a great job with the whole painter stuff and all that. Like it's still excellent. It's just not what I really wanted.
I'll agree with you there. I think the idea of dropping the expedition for what the expedition could have been, and in turn revealing that the entire thing is more or less just a family dispute, really just lessens the whole thing. Like, I don't want to say even in terms of seriousness. I just want to say in degree of, I'm going to use the word awesomeness. And I don't really want that to be vague, but I want this to describe like
an epic.
Exactly. Like what we initially thought was going to be an epic. And I will say, to me, it feels like it devolved from an epic into a family dispute. That's what it broke down to. That's how this came to be. That's what's continuing to cause the pain and suffering of everyone else, is the dispute between a grieving mother and, well, I want to say that Renoir is also grieving, but he's more or less just like someone who's reluctant to have his wife and child and whole family move on. I never really thought Renoir was wrong on anything, really.
He's not, and that's the thing.
Yeah, that is the thing. I'm 1,000% agreeing with you. Very adamant in the whole thing. Is just like, you're just a child. You're ruining your life. Verso is dead. We need to let this go. I mean, he really doesn't even say anything to Verso at all, except for what he says to him at the beginning of Act 3. And that's it. Doesn't even acknowledge his ass after that.
Oh, yeah, and like, why would you? Like, he's just this copy that your wife created so that way she doesn't have to grieve anymore.
Just a crutch.
He's playing his role that he's meant to play, Renoir. He's the father of this family, and he's trying to hold it together. But, he's an older fellow. He's a father, so he's going to be the stern side of telling the family, like, we've grieved enough. This is now, like, hurting us physically and mentally, so we have to stop this. And, usually in a traditional sense, the mother would be there to help you with the emotional side of things, to help overcome it. But she's so heart-stricken too that she can't fill that role. And that's why he is the villain, both fake and real version.
It's gotten to the point where again, the fracture being the main example of this is just like, there was a time where Aline was expecting Renoir to like basically place his hand on her shoulder and say, hey, this is okay, because of the fact that it happened for so long and it's obviously causing detriment. And he mentions, I think before you fight him and during the actual fight, on how the family is inevitably destroyed by what's happened and just because of this death. Along with your point, during the final fight, I'm not sure if you remember where the very last attack that he has, where it says like Renoir unleashes his full power, and it's just basically him like flying around the map talking to Aline, and one of the things he's saying is just like, it's supposed to be you with me, not you against me. That's a very, it's a central belief in terms of marriage. I mean, this is just me as a married guy saying this. But I also think that this is something that stands very well with a lot of married couples is, it's just like, especially with couples that have children, it's like the expectation is you and your wife will always come first. Like the relationship comes before your children. And that doesn't always apply to everything. And I understand that. But the majority of the time, this is how that works. And I think like it's pivotal that he would have said this, because obviously Maëlle was wrong on more than one account. Where she's like, oh, I hid the painting, Papa. She'll never find it. Maman will just have to just deal with it, right? Clearly, that was not the case. So she was wrong on that part. And then again, on the other part, where it's just like, now, so much, not even so much out of love, but purely out of spite, Aline comes back and is just like, I'm going to get you out of here for doing what you did to me. Not even seeing Maëlle as the one who actually did the pushing out. But just because of the fact that Renoir is assisting her, she's more upset and more like over the fact that this is a detriment to our relationship as husband and wife. You not letting me do this, you not letting me get to be with my son. It's powerful and it's great. Like it adds a lot. Yeah, I definitely think that this could have been more without having it to devolve into the family feud. Just having it be the epic of Expedition for what it was, and the idea that I don't know, to fully flesh out your own idea, because it's not like I know 100% of it, but I guess the idea of whimsy of like what this universe could have contained for the Expedition in and of itself. I guess if that's what you're trying to make a point of.
Yeah, I mean, the ideal thing would be that Verso's canvas would be a place the family could come visit, to reminisce about Verso himself, not to like devote the rest of your life in there in a negative way.
But again, Renoir knows better. It's just like, all of you have been way too invested in this. There's no way that any of you are going to be able or will be able to be capable of just coming here to get away or coming here to like, I think all in all, it's not good. Even if the power was available at all, like it's not a good thing to just create ghosts of your loved ones and hang around them. That's not proper grieving.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, if Aline wasn't obsessed with the painting, Renoir wouldn't have wanted to destroy it in the beginning, right? But because she's so self-absorbed in it, it's like, no, it has to go. I don't care. Like, cool, she's out and you may have hidden it somewhere, but she's going to find it. And she does, right at the end. She came immediately back in.
It really makes me think, where the fuck did she think to hide it that her mom wouldn't be able to find it?
The goddamn it, Sandfall. You guys are so fucking smart. Where they kept everything in the real world so vague, right? Like, they're just in a black space. It's like, ooh, this is a good spot, but I wonder how long it'll take before she finds it. I'm like, well, where is it? What is it? Is it in the manor? I don't know. I'm glad that they came out with DLC for it. There's actually a lot to do there, which has been fun. I wonder if we're ever going to get more stuff here for this game. Like, maybe more DLC would be fun. Yeah, I pretty much believe that. As far as this canvas goes, we're not going to come back to it again in a different game. Which I was like, it kind of sucks, because I do like Lune and Ciel and, Minoko and Verso and stuff, but it's okay. They can make other great characters.
I very much agree with you that if we ever get sequels, my rule is always the same. It should never involve the same characters from the first game. If we get like an expansion on the painter versus writer war, which I think would kind of be more fitting here. Maybe if they're gonna open the universe to like both sides, and we get to be like a writer in the next game to see what like writer powers are like, because like it's an explanation of painter powers that's basically a part of the game, but writers in their own are still a mystery. Like there was the whole fire that was started. Was it started physically? Was it started with some sort of power? They mentioned that they tricked Alicia. Well, okay, well, how did they trick Alicia? Like how, and they could do that without having Alicia in the game. It could be something that they can mention in passing, like in another journal entry, like, whatever, like during the war we did this with the DeSandres family, whatever, and it could just be just around somebody else.
It's probably going to be Clea, I think.
If Clea would be in it, that would be awesome.
I think she's going to be the main character.
That would be cool. Like, I don't mind if we continue to be painters. Like, I guess, like, if the universe is mapped out so that painters are, like, the good guys. My interpretation is that we don't know enough about the universe to decide who's good and who's not good. We just know that there's a war between painters and writers.
See, like, yeah, once, like, they got the writers involved, I'm like, okay, so writers obviously have some kind of power as well. But at the end of the day, I'm thinking, well, their powers only work in the canvas. Like, what do they do outside the canvas? Like, what makes them such a prestige family? Is it like Inception where people can enter the canvas and experience it or something?
Oh, maybe like in their realities, the painters aren't the only ones that can... Oh, I see what you're saying. Like, maybe like painters in their reality can do more than just literally paint a thing. Like, to like the people who review it, they can like do stuff to it or like feel something.
Well, based on like the very little stuff we got, from what it looks like to me is that like, yeah, they have the ability to paint a canvas and thus create this world inside it. But that's all they can do, right? It's not like this power makes them superhuman outside of the canvas.
Yeah, that's true. That's very like to be determined.
It's very cool and interesting, like having a world shaped around people with these kind of special abilities to create like whole worlds on just a frame. And then what does that imply with social status and like political power and stuff? And then, yeah, if there's a conflict with, I guess, another group of individuals that can do the similar thing, but with words instead of paint, I wonder, like, where's the conflict between these two separate mediums is what I really want to know.
You're getting so far ahead, man.
I know. I'm thinking about the fifth game already. Like, we're not...
I'm right there with you, though. That's exactly what I want to know, too. Like, who they are, what is the conflict, and what boils down to how did it start, where are we at, and where is it going to lead to?
Yeah.
What is at stake here?
Oh, yeah, and like Gerry said on a prior episode of this podcast, great music. Fantastic. I be listening to on my way to work sometimes. Yep. It's so good.
I'm obsessed with the Children of Lumiere song, the overworld song that starts in Act 3. I'd be like, I am so deep in my feels as soon as I hear I see you, I feel you. I'm like, oh Jesus, I'm so naked and seen right now. Did you guys ever go to White Sands? At this point you must have done everything. So
you know what I did? I went to White Sands and they said like that's the Manor, but it's different somehow. And then I heard some guy talking in the song and I was like, oh, if I wait till the song's over, something's gonna happen, right? And then it looped, and I didn't realize it looped right away. And I was like, "Oh, I just wasted my, time."
Let me tell you, I'm happy it loops for you in your game because after a while, the music just stops. Like the song just decides it doesn't want to loop again, and like every now and then, when I'm like in the menu or I'm just standing still, the music will just stop playing.
Yeah, mine does that sometimes, especially with Monaco.
When the music stops, that's how I know it's late and I need to go to bed. So that's it, guys. Clair Obscur, Expedition 33. What a game. So, all right, gamers, thank you for listening to this episode. We have an email, unversedpodcast@gmail.com. If you have questions, comments, if you want to tell us something and we want to discuss it, we'll bring it up. And we do have a little backlog, so we'll be sure to dish those out in the rest of the episodes coming out this year. And that is all, guys. So thank you. See you later.
Tune in next time when we talk about charging controllers.